never really got into services like that.
So this is the language of the circle seven. Now, this book, the Holy Quran and the More Science Temple of America. I'm not advertising any organization, but I'm going into the symbol. You know, there's a book called The Aquarian Gospel by Levi Dowling, and I believe it's in chapter 48. And he says that the circle is the symbol of perfected man or perfect man. The circle is the symbol of perfected man, and the seven is the number of perfected man. Now, you know, in D.C., what's the address for the White House?
1500 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Huh?
1500 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Nope.
1600.
1600.
I was
1600. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, right?
Yeah.
And if you're in D.C. and you take 16th Street downtown, you go straight to the White House. 16th Street. 1 and 6 is 7. So 16th Street, there's a park called the Meridian Park.
Yeah.
Maybe you used to have Malcolm X every year. Malcolm X celebration. So 16th Street is the Meridian. Goes all the way up. Colesville Road. You know what I'm saying? So symbolism, the 7, is in front of our face, but we ain't getting it. So the language of the circle 7 is that the circle is the symbol of man, and the 7 is the number of man. So let's look at the gaps. So you have gaps here, right? Okay, you have gaps here. Now, is it a complete circle? Yeah, it is. However, these are not by accident. So if you take a cross, which we call a cross, and you put it at these gates, as they call it the cross. Well, if you look at the symbol of the circle around it, you get this. Now, what is that? What is that symbol? You see it on churches. You see it on churches, right? You also see it in the zodiac.
Oh, yeah. I guess I never really know.
And the 7 is in the middle. 7 is perfection. 7 is spiritual completion. Okay? So the same way that you have this with the gaps, and you have this circle with the cross, you also have this and the circle, which is actually the zodiac. So churches that have this secretly are revealing to those that have understanding, revealing to those that know something, that they're dealing with astrologics.
And they teach you not
Yes.
to deal with it.
Now, there are those people who are regular, people that are not knowledgeable enough or don't want to seek it, foolish masters. They see that as a cross with a circle, and you see it on top of churches. But they don't know that this symbol is the symbol of the zodiac. So they're showing you on top of these cathedrals, there's the regular cross. But what is the cross? The cross is man's horizontal nature. Our nature to be on all fours, beast of the field. And also our vertical nature, which we can be vertical being upright. So when you have the cross horizontal, you have the horizontal and the vertical. That's balance. That's balance. Because they're both crossing each other. Like when you're at a crossroad in your life, when someone's at a crossroad, that means they have to make a decision.
That's all you just read my mind.
They got to make a decision. You know what I'm saying? That's the crossroad. So when we talk about someone being on the cross, you follow me? It was a crossroad. It was the decision. Am I going to give my body up for the redemption, of those?
Well, which way shall I go?
Yeah, which way shall I go?
That's always that fork right there. Every time you come to one,
So,
there's a fork.
The language of the circle 7, it says the number 7 is spiritual development. In many traditions, the number 7 is believed to signify stages of personal evolution and conscious expansion. The circle is the symbol of man. The 7 is the number of man. Because man is supposed to what? Personally evolve and consciously expand. This is our purpose. Even drug dealers expand, It says, for instance, in Hindu philosophy, there are 7 chakras or energy centers in the body. Each chakra represents a different aspect of our existence. From our basic survival instinct at the root chakra to universal consciousness at the crown chakra, which is what they call Christ consciousness. You know what I'm saying? The journey from the 1st to the 7th is seen as a path of spiritual awakening and self-realization. If he would just watch, control, and alter his thoughts, linking the effects upon what your thoughts and your behavior, the effects of people, the effects on yourself, self-realization. That's in Hinduism. I just read it out of man's thinking. It's just said in a different way. But it's the same thing. That's why I said that if you want to hide something, if you don't know words and language and you're not used to looking up vocabulary words and you can't go into etymology and looking up stuff, self-realization is exactly what I read. If you would just watch, control, alter your thoughts, tracing your thoughts and your behavior upon yourself and your circumstances, how you affect people and their lives and your life. And once you understand that, you know what I'm saying? Then I already know I don't need to go around my coworker because I know my coworker eat pork. And my coworker going to criticize me. I'm not going to go around my coworker or anybody. I know they got negative energy. Self-realization. Because you trace your thoughts. You watch yourself.
That's right.
And when you say watch, not visually, you watch yourself, how you reacted. I got some coworkers, I just can't, I get quiet. They're not used to me being quiet. But I get quiet. Because once I open my mouth, I'm going to drop some knowledge. And so they ridicule the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And then later on, it manifests. But they're not going to tell me that it manifests. You know what I'm saying? Because their ego can't take it. So it says right here. These are the chakras. You have the crown chakra, the third eye, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root chakra. 7. The symbol, the number of perfected man. So in Hinduism, we are supposed to master the lower self and rise up to our higher self in Hinduism. But it takes time. You got to be around people that's on that vibration. Mm-hmm.
And it's best to come from right now. We're into the heart chakra in the universe and our planet.
Mm-hmm.
Every heart represents humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you do with them, everything they go through, is the heart. So the chakras, when you come from the heart, when you use the heart chakra first, when you're healing yourself, you'll be able to go and heal each and every last one of them.
Mhm.
And in my studies in Hinduism, each one, the Creator gave us 7 because when we manifested in third density,
Mhm.
it was actually one universe, but then he divided it into 7 universes. And
Mhm.
each one of those chakras are a universe.
Mhm.
So when you're mastering yourself, and we're quantum beings, so
Yes.
each one that you master is another plane of your existence
Yes.
that
And-
exists right now, not
and-
a second from now, but now.
And so this information is Hinduism, but people are taught not to study
Yep.
information that's pretty much older than all the religions right now. You know, I mean, pretty much it's like ancient stuff that is still being used in our face. And the medical society are practicing this about your chakras. When you get that gut level feeling, you know what I'm saying? You know, you get that gut level. That's right here.
Mhm.
That's the solar plexus in this area.
That's all
You know, when you
want.
get that gut level feeling, because you have the same matter tissue
Up here,
that's in the brain is also
it's up
in
here.
the intestines,
It's the second brain. Yeah.
second brain, and that's why it's so important that if I can poison your diet, I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yep.
If I can get you to have a poor diet, I can get to your brain.
Mhm.
You won't even think about
Not to
retaliating.
mention your
You
nervous
know what I'm saying? I throw me a filet mignon at your behind. Phew. You know, we'll rebel later.
And that's why it's so important to study anatomy. In my field of work, I had to study the whole anatomy.
But see, that was your path. You follow what I'm
But
saying?
everyone should know it.
But everyone should. But remember, the foolish master. Someone has fashioned their thoughts
Yeah.
until you watch, control, and alter your thoughts. Then you be like, somebody just threw me a Mickey. I just fell for the okie doke. And then you'll start to reverse that polarity. Let me move on with this one. So it says, similarly, in Christianity, the number 7 is considered holy and divine. It is associated with completion and perfection. The 7 days of creation in the Bible are an example of this. In this context, the 7-day cycle can be seen as a metaphor of spiritual meaning for spiritual growth, starting from the birth of light, meaning knowledge, to the rest on the 7th day, enlightenment or completion. Islamic tradition, there are 7 heavens, each representing a different level of paradise, which is what you're talking about. The journey through these 7 heavens symbolizes a soul's progression towards ultimate union with the divine. Insignificance of the number 7 in spiritual development is not limited to these examples. There are numerous other cultural and religious instances where this number denotes stages, cycles, and levels of spiritual advancement. Through these representations, we can see how deeply the number 7 is woven into our collective consciousness as a potent symbol of spiritual growth. Now, what store do we know that people buy from, and it's a major franchise? Oh, thank heaven, 7-Eleven. Well, we already know what happened in 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Okay? So we got to, just for the audience, we got to look up 7-Eleven, the Moors, in conquest of Spain. 7-Eleven. So in 7-Eleven was when the Moors, which were African Muslims, not the lighter skinned brothers, African Muslims went into Europe, the Rock of Gibraltar. A General Tariq went into Europe, and that began the Enlightenment of Europe.
Yep, we pulled them out. Of
There's the
Stone
movie
Age.
Robin Hood with Kevin Costner, Morgan
The
Freeman.
Dark Ages, we pulled them out of the
Yes,
Dark
there is Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx, Robin Hood. Another word for Moor is Sacrian. You know, Saracen. And so they, again, Berber. Again, you know, I'm going to deflect and I'm going to dilute from the original. So I'm going to fashion your thoughts so you won't ever trace back. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. And 7-Eleven is all over the United States, making money. You know what I'm saying?
And this was our empire.
Exactly. So just a little sidebar. It says number 7 is myth. Number 7 in mythology and folklore. Beyond the realm of spirituality, the number 7 has also found its place in various mythologies and folklore, often symbolizing magic, mystery, and divine power. White House, 1600. Magic, mystery, and divine power. Greek mythology, for example, references the number 7 in several tales. Notably, there were 7 Pleiades, daughters of Atlas, and Pleione, who were chased by the hunter Orion and eventually formed into stars. The Pleiades star cluster, also known as the 7 sisters, still bear their name. So in Greek mythology, they're dealing with astrology, astrologics. So I just showed you the cross with the circle. It's in our face. Bam. But if you don't trace research.
Well, they are making themselves known now because the Pleiades has been with us since the Ice Age.
Yes.
That's when we began to get the concept of God being in the sky, but it wasn't God. They were actually extraterrestrials that came to help us out of the Ice Age.
Yes, and
they fell for us, but that was the moment that we was at a precipice to discover that we were God.
And so, see, in every culture, they have these, like the movie Prometheus. The movie Prometheus. Look up Prometheus. There's 1 and 2. Prometheus. They were searching. Who's Prometheus? Greek mythology. Who was Prometheus? Prometheus wanted the power. Prometheus took fire. He stole fire from the gods. Prometheus. You know what I'm saying? So, what is fire? Enlightenment. Light, knowledge. You see what I'm saying? But we think it's like, ooh, a campfire. Ooh. No, it was enlightenment. Yes. So Greek mythology is dealing with the constellations, but because it's camouflage, we don't connect it. And where did the Greeks get it from? That's another story. In Chinese folklore, the 7th day of the 7th lunar month is celebrated at Qi Festival, or the Double 7 Festival. This festival is based on a romantic legend of 2 star-crossed lovers who are allowed to meet only once a year on this date. The number 7 here symbolizes love, longing, and the inevitable cycles of separation and union. The Celtic culture, the number 7 is considered magical. There are tales of the 7th son of a 7th son who is said to possess supernatural abilities like healing and clairvoyance. Well, the Celtics and the Druids get their knowledge from the ancient Kemites, which called Egyptians.
And they ain't trying to give it no.
And so if you look up the word, if you take the word gypsy and you add an E to gypsy,
Egyptian.
just saying.
But they don't wanna give us no
I'm just
credit.
saying. It says number 7 in science and nature. In the realm of astrology, our very own solar system provides a fascinating instance. There are 7 traditional celestial bodies visible to the naked eye: the sun, moon, stars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn. In the natural world, too, the number 7 seems to hold a special place: the rainbow, a natural and beautiful meteorological phenomenon, is known for its 7 colors: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red, which in school we call Roy G. Biv. In the field of music, there are 7 notes in a traditional Western major scale. This has greatly influenced musical compositions and structures across various cultures. These instances highlight how the significance of the number 7 transcends cultural borders and permeates into specific and natural phenomenon. It is not a numerical value. It is an integral part of our observable universe. So the number 7 is the number of perfected man. So it's not just a numerical value. See what I'm saying? It's not a numerical value. It's an integral part. So as the microcosm to the macrocosm, you know what I'm saying? So in the field of music, there's 7 notes. Well, let's go back to shaping and fashioning our thoughts. So someone took the 7 notes of music and perverted it. So now the music today fashions the thoughts because they're using the 7 notes, or sometimes 8 notes, but they're using the 7 to affect the human body, the human being, which is the number of perfected man. So no wonder why we're not able to perfect ourselves. We're being bombarded with so many outside distractions. It's hard for us to tap in. Because once we tap in, I got to go to work. Once we tap in, I got to get, all of this stuff. And so even with the music today, greatly influenced. Okay, we got it. 120. Number 7 in societal structures and practices. The number 7's influence can also be seen in societal structures and practices, often forming the backbone of timekeeping, governance, and even architectural design. Freemasonry, talks about the 7 liberal arts. You have architectural design. You have Doric, Ionic, Corinthian. You have different agricultural designs that you learn when you are in Freemasonry. I ain't talking about the YouTube watches. I'm talking about when you're in the lodge. You know what I'm saying? And you deep studying, you learn the 7 Hermetic principles. You learn the 7 liberal arts: music, astrology, arithmetic, all of these things. It says 7 in religious texts. It says that religious texts and practices across various faiths often enlighten the number 7 as sacred or highly significant. This number frequent appears further underscore the universe spiritual resonance. In Christianity, the number 7 is regarded as the number of divine perfection and completeness. And that's in Christianity.
Of all places.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow,
So
700 times in the Bible.
So why are we not learning that in certain locations? Because
I know I learned in the beginning. Yeah.
but I'm saying in certain religious institutions,
Right.
why isn't the
Even
congregation
in secret.
taught this? Because you'll wake up too fast. I need to fashion and shape your thoughts.
Yeah, I need to control you.
I need-
Yeah.
I need
Make
not to
money
give you.
off
I need not to give you the prophet, prophet. I need to get a prophet. You got the prophet, you got the prophet, then you got the prophet. So there's two JCs.
And everybody's tired of being
There's two JCs. There's JC the prophet, and then there's the one that prophets. Now I work with the Latino community, and all my life I've been around my Latino. Who do they give honor to? Mother. They give honor to Mary. You see all these different sculptures of Mary.
But they got that from us.
Yeah. However, in other ethnicities, amongst the Negro community, let me say it like that, we're worshiping the male, where in other cultures they're worshiping the female.
In the Puritans, they say we got
Yes.
it all wrong.
Mhm.
They say source
So-
is the feminine energy. When they come to the earth, they are not concerned so much about us. They're here for the planet,
So this book,
to take care of the planet.
The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, is a powerful book. It's online. Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple .pdf. Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple .pdf. And this pamphlet dates back to 1927. Now let's see. 1927. Let's see what they was dropping in 1927. Let's go. It says in first chapter, time never was when man was not. If life of man at any time began, a time will come when it will end. The thoughts of Allah, God, cannot be circumscribed. No finite mind can comprehend things infinite or infinite. All finite things are subject to change. All finite things will cease to be because there was a time when they were not. So, time never was when man was not. What man we talking about? Spirit man. We're not talking about physical man. Spirit man. There was no time when spirit man was not.
And it still isn't.
Now
we have is an illusion.
Now, where physical man comes in, if the life of man at any time began, on a physical level, a time will come when it will end. Because everything on this realm, you know what I'm saying,
It's temporary.
it's temporary.
It's a hologram.
And so a finite thing is something that's on a physical level, something that's limited. Something that's finite is limited.
And that's just
You know, so a finite thing can't comprehend anything infinite. Now that's why I was wondering why folks I'm just so special with folks. I was wondering why these folks don't want to mess with me. I was wondering why I've been in Baltimore a long time. And I'm wondering, okay, what is it about me that, finite can't comprehend things infinite.
Yeah.
And my attribute when I was in the 5% Nation and still in the teachings of the 5% Nation and the Nation of Islam and the Moorish Science Temple and the Ansarul Law community, all of these teachings, Charles Fillmore, Madame Blavatsky, all of these things, you know what I'm saying? My name or my attribute is Master Infinite Supreme. So I was wondering how come, like trying to get with folks, because finite things can comprehend things infinite. And that's why a lot of people can't figure us out. We weird. We different. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't because I'm different. It's because I reach a certain level of infinity in my thought process.
That's right.
Because what did I do? I transformed myself.
That's right.
So those people who have not gone through the transformative, regenerative process, you're not feeling what I'm feeling. You won't get it.
And you don't see what I see.
You won't see what I see.
Yep.
You know, and there was the cartoon, what was it? Not He-Man. I think it was He-Man. No, it wasn't He-Man. It was Thundercats. He would put the sword up to his nose, and the sword would come around his what? Crown chakra. And what did he say? Give me sight beyond sight. And what is a sword but a sacred word? You know what I'm saying? So even in the cartoons, they was dropping it. So it says
still are today because the youth is
Yes.
definitely getting it.
Exactly. It says the body and the souls of men are finite things. The body and the souls of men are finite things, and they will change. Yet from a finite point of view, the time will come when they will be no more. But man himself is not the body nor the soul. He's a spirit and part of God. I just put that in there because, like I said, I don't want to scare the audience
That's
away.
right.
You know, I want
God.
to scare them. I don't want to scare them. So, man himself. So when you ask yourself, or ask someone, what is your own self? Now, Elijah Muhammad put in the lessons, supreme wisdom, our own self is a righteous Muslim. You know what I'm saying? Man himself is not the body nor the soul. It's a spirit and part of the God. So when someone is just man, you're talking from a physical. But when you're mentioning, talking in code language, when you're mentioning someone and you're saying man himself, now you and I would know what I'm talking about. If I say man himself, oh, he not being himself. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
He not being himself. Because to be yourself is to be a part of the divine.
That's right.
You see? So it says, creative faith gave the man a spirit, a soul that he might function on the plane of soul. Gave him a body of flesh that he might function on the plane of things made manifest. And that's why lots of times, even in certain scriptures, it says what is of the spirit is of the spirit, and what is of the most high is of the most high. You got to separate church and state. It says a multitude of lessons man must learn upon the plane of soul, and he tarries many ages until his lessons are all learned. Upon the boundary of the plane of soul, the ether began to vibrate slower still. And then the essences took on a final garb, the perfumes and the odors and the true sensations and the all of love were clothed in flesh, and man was clothed in flesh.
And man was clothed in flesh. After all the sensations and perfumes and
Now-
the clothes
now-
in flesh.
Now we go to another level. Perfected man. Okay. Now, what we're looking at is a multiple lessons man on the plane of soul. Man must learn a multiple of lessons on the plane of soul. Now we're coming into perfected man, the seven. Perfected man, those who operate from the seven frequency. Perfected man must pass through all the ways of life. So a carnal, a physical nature was fully manifest. It was made. A nature that sprang forth from fleshly things, right? Without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. And thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. So how many people don't know how to develop their thoughts by exercising their strengths? How many people were taught that their strengths are weaknesses? You know what I'm saying?
I tried.
Yeah. But you know, even when we're at a job interview, and he asks you, well, what are your strengths or weaknesses? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad question. But then that person puts you on the spot to see if you have self-realization. If you have self-realization. If you know yourself, then you would know your strengths and weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? And then some people will make it up just to give an answer. You know, I always say, well, I really don't know until the circumstances arise what my strengths and weaknesses are. You know what I mean? And so it says, so this carnal nature soon became a foe that man must fight, and he might be the strength of God made manifest. So we literally have to learn to master self. We have to master this flesh.
And that's very powerful. That because as I evolved and I learned, when in the circle 7, there are so many things that keep pointing out what I learned. That man said, as God said, as above, so below.
As above, so below.
He said, I created you equal.
Mhm.
As above, so below. So we're functioning on the plane of manifestation. We manifest everything. We are the creators of everything we see. So doesn't that make us a God?
Yes, but okay. So I've heard you say God and goddesses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's same as saying he and she.
Those
or his and her.
Those whose minds have been shaped and molded by someone else would not see the word God and goddesses as you would.
How would they see it?
We've been taught the mystical, magical, Harry Potter. Ooh.
They think I'm a lunatic.
So some people will be offended.
Yeah, they do. I see all of them. Baby.
Some people will be offended
All of them.
if you use that word, because they've been trained to reject that word.
He's someone we pray to separately.
Yes, but
even though they know that he's within,
yes,
they still have the concept that he's without.
Yes,
I'm praying to Allah. I'm praying to Allah.
But even the word Allah, again, the misinterpretation, the mystical, magical spookism in words. So the word God is only less than 500 years old. It comes from the Greek, the German word Gaud, good, Gaud, and they just take out the O. But what I'm saying is that other people who have not received or went through the process of enlightenment, they will not see the word G-O-D.
Right. But look at the word Jehovah.
Yes.
Or Jehovah. That's mother, father, God.
But see, again, you see how you explained it to me? The average Joe will not have the self-esteem. The average Joe, the average Jane, will not have the self-esteem to see them as that, because they see that as above them.
Yeah.
Outside of self. You follow what I'm saying? So as much as you say it, they will reject it because it's a program.
Then they reject all that you've shown them right there. When you show
but some people haven't even gotten here yet.
And that's
so this is
the beginning teaching.
So this is me.
That's me too.
This is T-bone steak compared to baby milk and baby formula. So you're trying to, not trying to, you may be implying that individuals are already here.
No, I'm just saying that if they look at what they're reading, because I'm sure they all.
Some people can't read. Some people don't know how to read. Some people don't know what perfected means.
One point, if I may. And if they read, the question is, how do they read? Do they read in the name of our Lord, or are they reading in the name of something else?
Yeah, and reading comprehension is important. So a lot of people, they read this. There's too many big vocabulary words in here, sister. There's too many big vocabulary words. I mean, let's look at tarries, boundary. That's essences. You know what I'm saying?
But look at the master. Look at the person who perfect these words and know every Webster law, dictionary, everything.
Yeah, but you
of the meaning, they still don't comprehend it like that.
yes, but we dealing with the masses.
They still reject it.
You are where you are. So this is the third chapter in the book. And so I love this chapter because it keeps me, this chapter and the chapter Inconstancy keeps me
That's
on
my
point.
favorite chapter
Yeah.
too.
Keeps me on
Keeps
point.
me on point.
So it says,
Inconstancy.
no man lives unto himself. For every living thing is bound by cause to every other living thing. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will love and not demand love in return.
Mhm.
They will not do to other men what they would not have other men do unto them.
That's right.
There are two selves, the higher self and the lower self. Some people say God and the devil. You know what I'm saying? Some people say Satan and, you know, and God and Satan. And some people say Allah and Shaitan. And, you know, all of these are words that are actually describing what is within. You follow what I'm saying? So, but I can explain this to the average person unless they go through a certain system of initiation that will fashion their thoughts. They have to detox from the old information. So I just can't give them this information. So it says there are two selves, the higher self and the lower self. The higher self is human spirit clothed with soul, made in the form of Allah. Arm, leg, arm, head. So we're made in the form. So what is a form? See what I'm saying? We're made in a form of the physical. Macrocosm, microcosm. As above, so below. So it says the lower self, the carnal self, the body of desires, is a reflection of higher self, distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh.
You look at this under a microscope, you're going to see all kinds of things going on.
It says the lower self is an illusion and will pass away. The higher self is Allah in man, or God in man, and will not pass away. The higher self is the embodiment of truth. The lower self is truth reversed, what they call fake news. The lower self is truth reversed, and so is falsehood manifest. So my man wasn't wrong. He said fake news. There's a book called 1984 by George Orwell. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. Those are things. They called it double speak and double thought. See, so this is what we're going through right now. It is what? A reflection of higher self, distorted. We're going through distortions. We're going through truth.
Murky ether.
We're going through truth being reversed. And so here's falsehood.
Lots of chemicals given
So-
to babies.
So we're believing in the falsehood, and the falsehood is out here. So the falsehood is so real. The falsehood is so real
It looks like
that
it's
and we'll fall for it.
but it's going to be over.
Yes. So it says the higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right. The lower self is what the higher self is. It says the lower self. This is what our lower nature, our lower mindset. This is what our lower mindset. This is undeveloped man and woman. You know, male and female, undeveloped, unrefined male and female. We breathe when we are in our lower nature. Everyone has it. Everybody. When we are in our lower nature, hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms. So, murders. It may not even be an actual physical murder. but I can go ahead and in my mind
I can talk about you like a
wish that you were not on the planet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
You know how-
something happened to
You know, children today, when you take their drug away from them, the phone and all that. I hate you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I hate you. They're in their lower self.
And they live to regret it.
Yes. And it says the lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything to harm. The higher self is the mother of virtues and the harmonies of life. See, so in certain cultures, the feminine is honored. There's a book called When God Was a Woman, and they found archaeological diggings of carvings and statues of women that were honored and worshipped. You know, and so that had to be destroyed. A new mindset had to come on because that mindset brought about harmony and peace. You know what I'm saying? And so we can't have that. And balance. So it says the lower self is rich in promises.
So this is all in the Moore Science?
Yes.
Mhm. Okay.
This is just a miniature.
But it pretty much covers this as well.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that book, by the way?
God, I had this book. I don't know. I got this book years ago.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry, bro. I would like to, yes, sir. Because I know you said you could download it, I think. But I would
yeah,
like to have a
it's on the
physical copy.
internet. But the book form, you definitely want to get that.
That's what I'm thinking.
And
You
so,
will?
even though there are other books, like this book is called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success.
Yeah.
And that's
Who's
what
that
I'm
by,
pondering
brother?
right now.
This is by Deepak Chopra.
Okay.
How to deal with toxic people.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
before
want to
you
take a picture.
did
Oh,
some
no.
more everything? Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah,
I
you
didn't
got
know.
it.
There's a man named John C. Maxwell, and John C. Maxwell, he's on the internet as well. He's a motivational speaker. He has books on the 21 indispensable qualities of a leader.
Before you just sum everything, I want to take a picture.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna have to-
Another one is becoming a person of influence.
He's powerful cat too.
Yeah,
You ever seen
I'm
him?
recording.
You ever seen him?
Yeah.
Sister?
Another book is called Choosing Civility. Choosing Civility. That's another book. Verbal Judo. For those that I recommend, those in law enforcement and security, and if you're working with people. Iyanla Vanzant's book, Value in the Valley. I recommend all sisters, and I recommend a lot of the men read this, and it's my workbook. And I just found this book in the thrift store. It's called The Relationship Toolbox. And I just started that book. So I'm going to go back up here. It says the lower self is rich in promises, important blessedness, and peace. It offers pleasure, joy, and satisfying gain, but gives unrest, misery, and death. It gives men that are apples. It gives men apples that are lovely to the eye and pleasant to the smell. Their cores are full of bitterness and gall. If you would ask me what to study, I would say yourselves, not yourself. Yourself. Study your higher nature. Study your lower nature. Study your God self. Study your lower self. You know what I'm saying? And when you have studied them, then you would ask me what to study. I would reply again. You study yourself.
You never end studying stuff.
He who knows his lower self knows the illusion of the world, knows the things that pass away. He who knows his higher self knows Allah,
That's
right? The arm, leg, arm, head, the divine within.
That's right.
Okay? So when you know your higher self, you know the divine within and knows well the things that cannot pass away. It says thrice blessed, 3 times blessed, is the man who has made purity and love his very own. He has been ransomed from the perils of the lower self and is himself his higher self. Okay. I'm going to go back to that. Men seek salvation from an evil that they deem a living monster of the netherworld. And they have gods that are but demons in disguise, all powerful yet full of jealousy, hatred, and lust, whose favors must be bought with costly fruits, sacrifice of fruits, and of lives of birds, animals, and humankind. All right, it's a quarter to 2. So,
What is, this is in the,
yeah.
So
So
was that passed down through Noble Drew Ali?
yes,
Okay.
this was Noble Drew Ali compiled this pamphlet back in 1927.
Yeah.
Secretly. These were secret lessons or sacred lessons that we were not given the metaphysical, the deeper meaning of all the religious principles are wrapped up in that book. You know what I'm saying? So it was a pamphlet that was given. This is in 1927. This is what they was dropping.
And an African.
In 1927. Do you understand? 1927. This is the stuff they was dropping in 1927.
Yeah.
Oh, they had to take that out. They had to put that fire out. They put that light out. We can't wake you. You can't start.
They'll wake you up.
You can't start waking you up. You can't be looking at our symbolism and know what it is. You can't peep out. Man, you peep the game.
Yeah.
You peep the game. So it says that we have been ransomed from the perils of the lower self. Ransom. What is a ransom? You know what I'm saying? Somebody that like pays.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Pays for
Released.
yes. So you've been ransomed from the perils of the lower self. So those that suffer with addictions and all the other issues, and whether it's emotional or whatever it is, you know, food addiction, anorexia. I mean, whatever it is, and you have come out of it to the other side. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how. You know a little bit of the process, but you really don't know when exactly it happened, the date, the time. You know what I'm saying? What was the weather like that day? You've been ransomed from the perils of the lower self. The perils. You know what I'm saying? You know, so again, after you've been ransomed from the perils of the lower self, then you come into is himself, his high self. After you done gone low.
You don't know.
And I remember Les Brown said, he said, if you fall,
Try to look up so you can get up.
yeah, make sure you fall on your back. So if you can look up, you can get up. You know what I'm saying? That old Les Brown. You know what I'm saying? I'm going back in the days. You know. So again, so these are the things that, like I said, it says, and yet these gods have no, yet these gods possess no ears to hear, no eyes to see, no hearts to sympathize, no power to save. This myth is a myth. These gods are made of air, clothed in the shadow of a thought. The only devil. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't mean to bust this out. The only devil from which men must be redeemed is self. You know, I remember in Narcotics Anonymous, they were saying that my disease is outside doing push-ups.
Yeah.
My disease is outside doing push-ups. You know what I'm saying? It was a metaphor. You know what I'm saying? It was a metaphor. You know, and basically they were saying is that if I don't work on myself, my disease is still keeping itself in shape. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It want that exercise.
It want that exercise. You know what I'm saying? So when you leave from here, you need to go straight point A to point B. Stay away from people, places, and things. But it says that the only devil from which men be redeemed himself, the lower self. If man will find his devil, he must look within his name, self. If man will find his savior, he must look within. And when the demon self has been dethroned, the demon self, your lower nature, your negative character defects, your shortcomings, the negative aspects of yourself. You know what I'm saying? When that has been dethroned, the Savior love, okay, will be exalted to the throne of power. That's why in the earlier video, when the doctor recommended to the young man, even though it was a cartoon type thing, she recommended that he stay away from off the cell phone. He stay away from certain things. And what happened? He came back feeling much better. Yeah. And it's the same way when those who you saw the darkness of them getting high. They down in Lexington Market over there, over there, Northeast Market, over there, you know what I'm saying? And you could, and then they disappeared. You ain't see them for a while. Next thing you know that you see them, and they're full of light. You know, maybe some weight got back or whatever, but they look lighter and different because there was a demon that had no ears to hear, no eyes to see, no heart to sympathize, and no power to save. It is but air, clothed in a shadow of a thought. You follow what I'm saying? So in order for that person to have transformed themselves from drug addiction, they had to battle the high self and the low self. They had to find out that devil self. If I want to be clean, self. That's why it says in Narcotics Anonymous, it's an inside job. Yes, it is. It's only through understanding and application that this work. You know what I'm saying? And so the David of the light is purity, who slays the strong Goliath of the dark and seeks the Savior of love upon the throne. Now let's go into that story. Okay, 5 minutes to 2. Let's go into that story. Let's go into David and Goliath.
They just made a movie that's out too now.
Yeah.
It's kind of weak, but it's a movie.
Yeah, truth and false are strangely mixed. So David, what does David mean? David, beloved. David means beloved. Okay. Goliath. Let's look at the word Goliath. 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 Goliath, someone. Goliath. 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 If you take the H off, Goliath. Okay, so David represents the purity, beloved. David, David. It means beloved. And that's another name in certain cultures, like in Sufi, in spiritual teachings of Islam called Sufi, they call the creator the beloved and the beloved. You know what I'm saying? And again, we don't have to use the average words that people use all the time. Right. You know, I may call that entity the divine. Yeah. You know, I may say, you know, the universal, universal intelligence. That's right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? However, if you've been programmed to certain words, universal intelligence, okay, that's fighting words. Universal intelligence. You trying to diss my Lord. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So again, we're going back to shaping and molding of the thoughts. We reached that level of high consciousness. That's why we here. That's why y'all here. Otherwise, it would be filled. No doubt. You know what I'm saying? But as long as I'm breathing, I'm still going to continue. They'll come. That's right. You follow what I'm saying? That's right. They'll come.
You're definitely teaching leaders.
Yes.
You're definitely teaching God.
They'll come. However, this stuff busts up all manipulation you want to use. That's right. In whatever way. Yep. This busts all that up. Yep. So you can't abuse scripture anymore. Yeah. You know, after this, You know what I'm saying? You know about the high self, the lower self, and the only devil that you must be redeemed from is self. Well, you can't make no money. You can't guilt nobody, which is in this book, how to deal with toxic people. And one of the chapters is the guilt person. You got those people that will guilt you. You know, or if you don't come to this religious facility, you're not going to get the blessings from the Lord. You know, if you don't pray 5 times, you know, you're not doing, you know, the Lord's will. You know what I'm saying? When the book says something different.
Yep.
You know, if you ain't making meetings, you gonna relapse. You know what I'm saying? Well, maybe my story is different from yours. You know, in active addiction, maybe my story is different from yours. You know what I'm saying? So maybe my journey was different. Maybe it didn't take me long for me to sit in a couple of meetings and then, you know, get my life together. Maybe it took that person longer. You know what I'm saying? Because they're demon. Go ahead.
I want to say that I've never really been addicted to drugs, but I was told by this recovering addict that I had an addicted personality.
Mhm.
So I started going to the meetings,
Mhm.
And when I saw, and I already had more signs, I already knew the Quran. I was studying and
Mhm.
I lived my life according to it. But this was sometime, I guess I was letting myself be impressed upon. So I went there and I kind of saw the same thing. I saw a lot of people that have been there for 12 and 13 years. And I saw the fresh women that came in straight from the hospital, they recovery time, and now they're coming to the meetings. And I watched a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people was using this platform to still play the games of addiction.
Mhm.
And I had been a part of it for a short time.
Mhm.
And one day I felt like the law had left me and I started crying really bad. And before I got to the crying part, I was running home crying, but I stood up
Mhm.
and I let them know. I was so frustrated with them not knowing or acting like they knew those 12 steps. And I started talking because I went right back into that Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple, the Circle Seven. I came straight from it. And the whole meeting stood up and started clapping. And they said that was the first time they ever heard anyone go through this all 12 steps in one meeting. And I didn't even know I did that, but I was just talking from all of my previous lessons and saying, what am I doing up in here? I mean, it was 4 people. I think it could have been better, but I didn't like the way they was making victims of new girls that was coming in there. I didn't like that people was hanging around because they was too fearful to go out and live their life and discipline themselves, you know. But maybe that was just my judgment. So my point taken is that when you study self, you know the illusions of the world. And when you use those principles, my son told me the other day that I didn't know what was going on. And I thought, okay,
You talking about in the world?
yeah, he said I didn't know what was going on in the
How
world.
old is
He's 47.
Mm.
And I said, I know enough. He said, no, you don't know anything. Give me specifics.
Wow.
So I said, well, there's a war going on over in Israel and the Gaza. I said, just name some things. He said, I want specifics. I said, look, okay, I'm gonna look at the news. I looked at the news and it was all,
My feet on that ground.
and I looked at the news and it was the same old crap. I said, no, I was feeling so toxic that I just like, no.
Okay,
I don't need to look
so
at
I
that.
gotta stop you here
Okay.
because what you're just describing is stress.
Yeah. I don't like
So-
being stressed
so,
by
okay.
the people saying this is the
Gotcha.
way it is.
So we're gonna go
It's all
into
delusion.
stress. What is stress? The word stress is a shortening of the word distress. and dates back to around, circa means around the 1300s. Okay? In the dictionary, stress is defined as meaning hardship, adversity, force, and pressure. In a similar vein, when we talk about stress in terms of mental health, we're talking about emotional and physical reaction we have to any kind of demand or pressure put on us.
Mhm.
Usually, when we refer to being stressed, we see it is a bad thing, but some stress can actually be good for us. So let's go into trauma. Trauma is any type of distressing event. So what is stress?
Things that people that you find
Okay, so
distressing
so
that people
hold
put
on.
you, or things that
Stress is what? Stress is hardship, adversity, force, and pressure, right?
Okay, hardship, adversity,
It
force,
says-
pressure.
It says terms of mental health. We're talking about emotional and physical reaction when we have any kind of demand or pressure put on us. So that's stress. So let's go into trauma. Trauma is any type of distressing. Remember the word stress
Right.
Still in there.
That's right.
is
Still there.
any type of distressing event,
Okay. Mhm.
right?
Or experience.
Or experience that can have an impact on a person's ability to cope and function. So stress is the actual hardship, situation, gotta make a decision, you put pressure on me, you know what I'm saying? My rent is only $5, but I got a weed habit, and so I gotta decide whether my weed or pay this rent for $5. Knowing that a bag of weed is 10. You know what I'm saying? Now I gotta call somebody to cash at me, can you cash at me $5? You know what I'm saying? So that's stress. So it says types of trauma: abuse, assault, car accident, death of a loved one, divorce, abandonment, imprisonment, job loss, natural disasters, physical injury, rape, serious illness, terrorism, violence, witnessing a crime or an accident.
So why you say stress could be either good or bad?
Huh?
Why you say stress could be good or bad? What's the good part of stress?
It can inspire you to move yourself out
Yes.
of that condition.
Pain is a motivator. Stress is a motivator. You know what I'm saying? Stress can be a motivator as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm so stressed with this child support, I'm gonna get me another job. I'm gonna get me another job.
I'm so stressed with the news that I haven't looked at it in a decade or more, and I live a godly life in Alaska.
So what you're saying is,
Beautiful.
stress from watching the news and you cutting it off,
Made me live.
but you're
better.
detoxing.
Was a detox.
So stress can actually help you detox and cleanse.
That's
So that's a good thing that stress can cause you to, and also a stress. It can also you leave some people alone.
Yeah.
You know some people that stressful.
And
You leave 'em alone.
Make
Them-
you that way.
Them
Try to
emotional
make you that way.
people, I ain't got time. So.
Yeah. Oh.
So some types of trauma, intrusive thoughts and memories, hypervigilance, hyperarousal, feeling unsafe, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, loss of interest, avoidance, unhealthy coping behaviors. Now we got 20 minutes.
That's what I felt like I had.
This is the United States of America. This is the youth.
That was me.
What is an intrusive thought? Intrusive. Thoughts that impede. Thoughts that intrude.
Uninvited.
Uninvited. uninvited thoughts. But if you don't know your higher self from your low self, if you have not learned that man is the master of your thoughts and everything, the shape and molder of your character and all this, what we read earlier, if you don't know all this self-realization, you can have intrusive thoughts come in. That's why in the story of the Buddha, which his name was Siddhartha. His name was Siddhartha Gautama. And he was a Hindu priest. He was a Hindu prince. And so when he sought to go out into the world, he discovered that when in meditation, you will get intrusive thoughts coming in meditation. You could be sitting down in a meeting and saying, damn, I wonder if McDonald's is closed. You could be sitting down, intrusive thoughts can come in. But that's what meditation is supposed to learn how to push them out.
Or let them go past
Yes.
without reacting.
So this society doesn't give you time to meditate. So you can push those intrusive thoughts out. So hypervigilance, our youth today, hypervigilant. I mean, they are hypervigilant, hyperarousal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they go from 1 to 0. They snap. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it has to do with weed or something dealing from an emotional level. Feeling unsafe.
I really have a serious question about that, because can you be in that position, that PTSD, and create violence to a person because they were intrusive to you?
Well, someone can say a trigger word,
no,
and that trigger word can set you off.
face.
But again, if that person's in your face, you have the option to move. But you have the option to move.
In your own
That's
house.
conflict resolution. That is right there on the sheet.
I know. I'm gonna look at
You have the option to move. So if someone's coming at you, and you being the master of self, you're not the foolish master. You conscious. You're the wise conscious master. So by you staying there, you're literally allowing that abuse to go. That's abuse. This society has been abused. Post-traumatic stress disorder is not just from the post-traumatic stress disorder is not just from military. Okay. Some people say, and I'm not saying this, some people say we've been under military occupation since 1492.
We have.
You understand what I'm saying? So the loss of interest. Look at our young people.
So my question is, what is it you think that has caused the young people to become hyper-vigilant?
Someone who has fashioned their thoughts. Someone or them, all right, being misled, you know what I'm saying? Their lower self. Remember, I read about the lower self, right? The lower self is a demon in disguise. It offers apples that are lovely to the eye, but bitterness to the core.
And what about them 4-year-olds
Yes.
that are now grown?
So when we are talking about young people losing interest, we got soybean, we got chemicals all in the food. It takes like 3 apples to take like 1 apple from maybe 1930. You know what I'm saying? So avoidance, don't want to take out the trash, don't want to even clean themselves up, looking all dusty and dirty, unhealthy coping behaviors. This is America.
Yeah.
This is America. This is America. They ain't got nothing to do with ethnicity. This is dealing with spiritual, mental, shaping and molding. If I can have you under all of these different things, then I can go ahead and slip in and I can take over. Because you too hyper-vigilant, you too hyper-arousal, you too feeling unsafe. Woo, you feeling unsafe that you're not even looking at feeling unsafe. Okay? Okay, so if you feel unsafe, but you're not doing anything to protect yourself, then you're a sitting duck. pretty much. You're a sitting duck. Now look at our communities. Sitting ducks. Sitting ducks. Y'all waiting on a mayor. Y'all waiting on all these people to go ahead and get your community or your neighborhoods in order. You're waiting on, the mystery God. You know what I'm saying? That's under trauma. That's post-traumatic stress disorder. Everybody's under that. I've heard people, and a lot of young sisters, like 25 to maybe 30 or 40, they got bipolar. So let's look at bi meaning two, and polar. You have a high self and low self, right? Polar, right? You have the crown chakra, and then you got the lowest chakra, right? You know what I'm saying? Your head is the North Pole, and your feet is the South Pole. Okay, so bipolar is when you are going through the battle, the book of Job, right? The book of Job, and in the Quran, it also says that in the Holy Quran, that God and the Creator, God, Allah, him and Satan made a bet. If you go after this one, I'm gonna have him curse you in your face and all this other stuff. I'm gonna make him curse to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take everything from him. I'm gonna make him suffer. Well, the God said, well, you can do all that. Just don't kill him. Don't touch us. So you mean to tell me that I'm gonna have you go through all of this? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put you through all of this. This is where we are right now. Unhealthy coping behaviors. Look where we are. Avoidance. We don't even want to speak to our neighbors no more. There's no more interaction. Avoidance. We don't even want to address certain issues. We waiting on the mayor and all that, but we got plenty of people in our community, elders in our community. You know what I'm saying? We relying on politics. Poly, meaning more than one, and a tick is a blood-sucking insect. So we're waiting for the politics on our communities when they represent intrusive thoughts. We know we put the drugs in your community, but we're not going to tell you. But if you sign this crime bill, and in the crime bill it also says that your civil liberties are being null and void, and we can roll up and we can do whatever we want. Eminent domain, we can bum rush your house. Well, just sign the bill. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. I'll create a problem. Oh, I need help. Oh, help me, please. I'll come and assist you and become the savior, even though I'm the one that caused the problem in the first place. And I'll save you under the condition that, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to rescue this facility from this war. I just need some earthly minerals. You make a deal. Shut down this battle that's going between you and the other guy. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. That's what it is. But I created it in the first place.
You cause the problem, you gonna fix it.
You know what I'm saying? Cause a problem. You cry out for help. I'm coming as your savior to fix it. You see me as the savior, but I'm the one that actually put the drugs in your community, all this other stuff, and you live in food deserts and all this other stuff. And you wondering why you living like that. Because what? You have not tapped into the higher self to know that you can change your condition. If you watch, control, you know what I'm saying, and monitor your thoughts, tracing your thoughts and how it affects people, yourself, and other people's lives, you ain't got to live in a food desert. Soon as someone's getting ready to have a store and they put that little big sign ahead that they have, I forgot what they call it, it's a notice that this building is going to be erected for that, the community has the opportunity to say, no, we don't want that.
Yeah.
But if I have you under hypervigilance, hyperarousal, feeling unsafe, paranoia, loss of interest, avoidance, and unhealthy coping behaviors, then I can have stores that are in the communities that are owned by people of a certain religious faith that say that it is the truth, and it is the divine truth of all the religions and everything else, and yet they're selling plastic bags for the weed and other drug paraphernalia in our communities. And that's because we've been so distracted, not of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So again, Hegelian dialectic. I'm not going to allow you, no, I'm going to trick you to make you think that you can't change your condition. I'm going to make you think that. But how you going to do that? I'm going to bombard you, which is what's happening right now. I'm going to bombard you. I'm going to bum rush you. I'm going to do a gangster move. It's one gangster family who got rid of another gangster family. It's the same mafia family sitting next to each other at Jimmy Carter's funeral. Okay, anyway, so we got 10 minutes. How to support someone who has experienced trauma. 1, predictability. Everyone loves surprises. Not. Trauma survivors often prefer predictability because that feels safer. So someone who has trauma, right? They don't want no surprises. They would rather for you to let them know that this is what I'm getting ready to do. Attribution. Don't refer to the person's upbringing, problem, issues, behavior. Call it for what it is, trauma. Reciprocity. Give what you also need to receive. Listen, empathy, and empowerment. Perspective. Be aware when past is intruding into present. Don't take responsibility for what is not yours. Gently. Support. Be kind, loving, patient, but empathetically set limits. You have needs too. Choice. It can be a big trigger when a survivor is denied choice and control. Stress. Stress is what? When you put pressure on me to make a decision that I'm probably not ready to make, or I don't know if I'm ready to make, or I suffer with so much low self-esteem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you see more in me than I see in myself, and then you're pressuring me. You know what I'm saying? You're pressuring me to make homemade biscuits. I mean, I don't know nothing about no flour and yeast and all that other. I don't want no homemade stuff. I'm going to shop right across the street.
Give me a pattern.
You putting pressure on me. You want me to be creative when I'm used to making someone rich from their creation that was taught by the ancestors when they were, okay, anyway, space.
Is that in
No.
you don't have a flyer of that?
No.
Yeah, I wish you did. I wish
Yeah.
you did have one.
But I'm gonna have this the next time.
Okay,
Because we can go from here
Yeah.
on.
yeah.
Space. Allow time for the survivor to calm down, take perspective. Trauma survivors often have difficulty regulating emotions and take longer to calm down. That's when you take the cell phone from the children and they wild out. I mean, wild out. They damage everything. And then they end up calming down. You know, when recalibration. Rid, overreactive. Get rid of it. Oversensitive or over anything from your vocabulary. So when you're dealing with someone who has trauma, you know, try not to get into overreacting. You're overreacting. You know what I'm saying? Don't tell nobody that overreacting. Trigger word. Trigger word. See?
Oh, you talking about the youth? That's all about me.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know more like you talk
Oversensitive.
about business, but I
Oversensitive. But again, look where we are today. 2025. Look where we are today. We're overreactive, oversensitive, over anything. And all we got to do is stop spending money.
Yep.
All we got to do is do for self.
Yep. And that's all.
But if I have Hegelian dialectic, if I have through illusion made you think, and you need me because you're living in an impoverished subhuman, you're an impoverished community, urban compared to suburban. You're in an urban community, code language in the city. You know what I'm saying? So if I convince you that because you live in the city, you should have a poverty mentality. You follow me? If I can convince you of that, then you won't have no problem looking at trash on the floor, on the ground, and the garbage can's right here. And you'll just walk by. Or you'll have chicken box and throwing bones as you eat it, walking down the street as you eat it, and just throw the chicken box out the street. You know what I'm saying? That is post-traumatic stress syndrome warfare. That is the result of the effects of war. You know what I'm saying? What they call it, a ward of the state. You follow me? A ward of the state. You know what I'm saying? So when you have ward, you also have the word wardrobe. Wardrobe. What is wardrobe? Covering. Wardrobe. So you're a ward of the state. So the state covers you. So what state is that? The state of mind. So there's a state of mind that's affecting your state of mind to make you think that you are not qualified and you should not even get into this information or other information. But yet at the same time, in the movies, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, the light side and the dark side of the Force. Come to find out that Luke Skywalker was Darth Vader's son. Okay?
Yeah.
I and the Father are one. Breaking it down. The dark side, the light side, the higher self, the lower self.
And it's still
It's the
classic
same thing.
today.
Same thing. You know what I'm saying? Empire Strikes Back is the battle of the higher self and the lower self. You know, Satan, whence coming forth? Which cometh thou? Where you coming from? I'm coming from up and down in the earth, seeking whom I may devour. So even with Star Wars, it's right there. You know what I'm saying? Luke and Anakin, Anunnaki. Okay. We get it. Okay. Yeah, we got 5 minutes. So anyway, I just want to thank you for coming. I will definitely send you a flyer for the next one coming. And again.